Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Action Movie Guys podcast. I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
All right, Nate, did you see this film in the theater?
I did not. This was not one that I saw in the theater. This came out, let's see, what I was 16. So I wasn't going to as many movies. It was pretty much if my grandma took me, and that was it. She did not take me. I saw this with one of my cousins, though, like on DVD at their house. Like back when I was a teenager. So honestly, dude, I have not watched it since maybe 2004, 2005. Been like 20 years since I seen it.
Yeah. I never seen it in a theater. I remember I picked it up on DVD. Like I found, because I used to work at Blockbuster. I think this is one of the movies I picked up on DVD with my discount, my 10% discount. But yeah, like that's the only time I seen it. And then of course I saw it on the I think it was Tubi, digitally. Okay. So this is like a fresh new, because I totally forgot half.
Dude, I don't even remember. When I was watching this for this review, I didn't remember anything and nothing that happened. You remembered more than me, because you were like, this is the one where the guy gives up. And I was like, bro, I don't even remember anything.
I remember that because I remember that was like the selling when I was working at Blockbuster. That I remember that was the like they kept you know how you go
the marketing,
and they had like they had a TV next to the counter. And they used to run like music and upcoming releases. And I remember that was like the nonstop of the guy was like, I will pay $100 million if you get me out. Anyway, with that said, how did S.W.A.T do in the theater? Nate, let me just tell you something. I am so shocked that we never got a S.W.A.T Part 2. Because this movie was budgeted at $80 million, which actually looked like a high budget action film, right? Worldwide, $207 million. That is a successful movie. I mean, they doubled the budget and they got a little extra ka-ching on the side. Plus DVDs, Blu-rays, once it comes out.
It did get a sequel. It was straight to DVD.
Oh, okay.
It's called SWAT Firefight. And also, it did get that sequel that was straight to video, and it did get a new TV series.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like 8 seasons long. Like it was on for a while. So there was post-SWAT things, but not with this cast, not like another theatrical movie, which was weird because it did make money.
It is weird, which I was kind of shocked. But when you look at the cast, I kind of understand, right? Michelle Rodriguez, Fast and the Furious, so she has that franchise. So it's going to cost a lot for her to come back. Samuel Jackson, Avengers, his paycheck kind of fat.
Every franchise.
Colin Farrell. Yeah. Right, he's now a big actor, so that's a lot. And then LL Cool J,
Jeremy Renner,
yeah. Oh, he kicks the bucket
within a few years. Oh, that's true. He wouldn't be back. But anyway, within a few years, all of the except LL Cool J, all of these people, and Samuel, I feel like he doesn't count either. Everyone else would go on to be bigger stars than they were at the time of this. Even Michelle Rodriguez, because she'd eventually she had Fast and Furious before this, but that was it. Like really, and then she was in Avatar,
Resident Evil.
Yeah, that's true. She had some of these like this was in her wheelhouse at this point.
I think so. I think this is the time, if I believe, was the Resident Evil era, because she has that macho
early 2000s.
Yeah, I agree. LL Cool J, I will say this. I think this is the time he started NLCS Los Angeles, which was a big TV show that he was in. I remember he was part of that with Chris O'Donnell. He was the lead character. So
I do remember that show.
Again, that's the box office, but let's check out what the critics and audience think of SWAT when they saw it.
Well, these scores are very close to each other. Only a 4% difference in the thing. So honestly, critics, you got a 48% under the threshold. Both are under the threshold. 48 and 52. But if you add those together, that's 100. So it's almost like 50-50. This is like almost a 50-50 split as far as regular people and critics, how much they liked it or didn't like it. Right down the middle. I'm surprised that they're this high. I'm not going to lie. Before watching it, I was like, I don't know. These seem, because I don't remember this movie. I thought it'd be like 25 and 30, but 48 and 52.
Right. I mean, again, I agree. I think it's weird. I don't hear too much people talk about this movie. Like, while it is a 50-50 split like you're talking about, this is not a movie a lot of people bring up when they're talking action movies and stuff like that.
No one brings it up.
No. Until we do it, and then it comes out in the universe, and they come out with a 4K.
Now we're going to get a 4K of SWAT in the next year. Watch.
And then everybody's going to love it, and it was one of their favorite movies. But no, I totally understand, all jokes aside. Okay, so we got box office out the way. We got the critics out the way in the audience. Let's get right into our movie review. Now, lead characters, we already named all the action stars. That's the leads. What did you think of it?
Alex, I'm not going to lie. Popped this movie in, put it on last night after my Knicks win. I was hyped. I was very excited. And this movie's weird. I'm not going to lie. This is a weird movie. Okay, characters. We got Colin Farrell as a SWAT team member who is, they do a job early. He's a partner of Jeremy Renner's character. Only character I remember the name was like Hondo or something, which was Samuel L. Jackson. And they're partners. Jeremy Renner shoots he does the speed and he shoots the hostage from, all I could think of was when he's like, pop quiz. When you have a hostage, what do you do? And they're like, shoot the hostage. And literally this movie does it. So I was like, what the heck? Saves them, but then he gets fired. He's like, you're too much of a maverick. You shot someone. She's going to sue us. He's like, I saved her life. Gets fired, right? Colin Farrell, they got a little beef, and Colin Farrell gets stuck in the cage. He no longer can be a SWAT team member. He has to just like check in people's gear at work. Eventually, Samuel L. Jackson shows up. He's like, creating a new SWAT team for some reason. And then he's like, he just talks with him one time. He's like, you know what? You got some spunk. Have a tryout. And then he does like a tryout and then he makes it. Listen, I gave this a 2. These are not characters, okay? These are just cops. People being cops. Yeah. There is what can you tell me about Colin Farrell's character? He's dating the other guy's sister. They break up. You never see her again. Like later he's like, you should call my sister when he's injured or whatever. You should call her up. And he's like, maybe I will. That's it. He has no personal life. The only thing you know about Colin Farrell is he used to be partners with Jeremy Renner. He used to date this girl. That's it. Paper thin. Like I gave it a 2. I don't even know. I don't know their names. Yeah. Michelle Rodriguez got a kid. I think LL Cool J got a kid. And the rest of them, you know nothing about them. They're not really characters. So I could have gave it a 1. I don't even know why I gave it a 2. I might check. You know what? I'm going to give it a 1. I don't even know what, now that I'm talking about it, I didn't even like them. So a 1 for me.
So I hear what you're saying. I gave it a 3.
Oh, this is going to be one of those reviews. I can't wait.
This is the reason why I gave it a 3. Okay. 1, it's a TV show.
Yeah.
So it's not like the TV show, they give you background on all these characters anyway. So I have a feeling this is the same thing with the TV show when you pop it on. They're not going to give you histories of all these SWAT. I think it was like 10 when I looked it up, 10 characters in the TV show. So I don't even think they give you those characters' backgrounds. Now, in terms of the names are not memorable at all. I have them here. Colin Farrell plays Jim Street. Samuel Jackson plays Daniel Hondo Harrison.
Hondo, yeah, I knew that one.
Michelle Rodriguez is Chris Sanchez, which they thought he was a dude, but it was a chick.
That's right, I remember that
Jeremy Renner played Brian Gamble.
Gamble, yep.
Josh Charles, which is the good guy turned bad guy. He was TJ. Yeah, he was TJ.
Good old TJ.
Yeah, so those are the main 4. And then LL Cool J's character, because he is part of the team, he is Deacon. Deacon. Yeah, Decay. So anyway, so I give it the benefit of the doubt. Now, in terms as a unit, I thought they were good together. I thought they had chemistry between all of them. And that's where I gave the 3 at. I didn't give it to them as how you explain the way you gave it a 1. I give it to them as a unit because this is a SWAT movie. It's not about individual, like what they do outside of work. So as a team, I thought they did very well. As how they were assembled, I wasn't a big fan of because some of this stuff was just like, no way in freaking hell that they would just start grabbing people out the. I mean, LL Cool J got recruited after he went chasing after someone. I felt like it was Men in Black, like when Will Smith was chasing an alien and Kate picked him up. So I was just like, I wasn't crazy with that. The same thing was, Michelle Rodriguez's character. They just were like, hey, how about you just join the SWAT team? Like, it felt weird because I'm like, a SWAT team is like a very serious like position in the force. And it felt that's why I was like saying, it felt very TV show. It felt very TV show. The way they were assembled, the way the characters were acting was very assembled. So with that, I gave it a 3 because I thought they had chemistry and I thought they were pretty good once they started like working together. And the more they got closer towards the movie was building, the characters were gelling as a SWAT. Like they couldn't, I mean, these dudes were just actually taking down everybody once they started to figure out what works for them and stuff. And so that's why I gave it a 3. I totally understand your 1. I totally get it. All right, so my 3, your 1. All right, so the main villain here is Oliver Martinez, who played Alex Martell.
So you have him, and then you have Jeremy Renner.
And TJ.
Who switches sides. And TJ, who betrays his unit. And then, okay, we'll start with Olivier Martinez. French actor, used to date Halle Berry. That's all I know about him. I know he's in a couple movies back in like the 2000s. Taking Lives. He was in Taking Lives. Okay, he's whatever, I'll be honest. He doesn't do anything. He shows up in America. He drops his bags. They do some stuff. He's a drug guy, apparently. They don't really show him doing crimes too much. And then he gets picked up. He literally gets arrested. And then they're tasked with moving him from one location to another location. He puts out this call. Like, $100 million if you guys get me out, whatever. Turns out Jeremy Renner, who you just knew at the beginning of the movie, he was going to be bad. He fights him. He slams his head in the glass and he breaks the mirror. He's like, you're no partner of mine. And then he leaves. I'm like, well, I don't even remember this movie, dude. And I was like, he's definitely going to come back. He's definitely going to come back. And sure enough, they catch him. He comes to the door. He shoots the other guy, the House of Wax guy. And then Colin Farrell sees him. He's like, no, not you. Why would you do this? And then the rest of the movie, they're chasing him. They fight at the end. Olivier Martinez character gets arrested again. and then Jeremy Renner gets his head gets hit by a train or something like that. I don't even know. Bro, it's the worst. He gets punched. He falls. And then that's it. And then Colin Farrell just walks back like, tough night at the office for me. And then the other guy shoots himself. The Samuel Jackson goes and he's like, why'd you do it, man? He's like, done.
Yeah.
I gave them a 2. I'll stick with the 2. Predictable. Jeremy Renner, predictable. What the heck did the drug dealer do? Nothing. This is one of our worst drug kingpins. Me and you've done 400 movies. How many drug kingpins we got? At least 50.
Yeah.
At least. He's the worst one. He doesn't even do anything. So, yeah, I mean, not great. I'll give it a 2, and I will not change it. I'll stick with my 2.
Yeah, I gave this a 2 also. I felt like this is the weakest point of the movie, where it started strong with Jeremy Renner's character, him sniping from like 5,000 feet away from them, taking down the helicopter. I thought that was really strong. TJ turning on the team. I thought it was good, but then it just became weak because those two got lost in the shuffle in the movie. They totally got lost, and I didn't think it worked. The cartel guy sucked. He didn't do nothing. You're so right. All he did was run, get in the back of the car, and then got caught and then went to prison. That's it. Yeah, he didn't do nothing. He didn't shoot nobody. He didn't fight nobody. Nothing at all. All he did was just look at the camera and say, if you take me out, I'll give you $100 million. And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. Other than that is all you're getting from these characters. I think he is the worst kingpin. And I thought Dominic Green from Quantum of Solace was bad. He is way better. He fought 007. He did way more stuff. This character, it is so garbage. For this type of movie, he should have been really hands-on, really fighting, but he did not. And I agree with you, mad weak. With that said, let's get right into the action sequence.
I do want to say one thing. He had one of the best lines in the movie, though. It made me laugh. When he's in the back of the car and he's like, I'll give you each $66 million if you break me out. And then Colin Farrell's like, no way, man. And then he's like, I bet you don't even make $66,000 a year. And Colin Farrell says, not even with overtime. And then the guy goes, loser. That made me laugh. He just calls him a loser and then they break him out. Anyway, okay, action. Listen, man, there's action in this. But you know what I'm going to give this? I'm going to slap this with I know that I've said these kind of movies exist, but now it's going to get an action signifier. This is dad action. Lots of shooting at stuff, very generically shot Clark Johnson, this is the director. I had to look him up. I've never heard of this person. He's an actor. He's actually an actor who's like got a bunch of acting credits. He directed this and like another movie after this that I had heard of. I can't remember off the top of my head. And then a bunch of stuff I've never seen. This is a pedestrian action direction. It's not exciting. I do agree with you. Like, there's moments that are kind of cool. The helicopter snipe. I'm a sucker for rocket launchers. So that scene where they're driving in the street and all of a sudden the freaking cholos got like rocket launchers for some reason doesn't make any sense. But it was cool to see them shoot some rocket launchers out the window and some stuff explodes. I'll give them some credit. At least they did blow stuff up. You know, there's not a CGI heavy movie. But, you know, you mentioned the TV show aspect. This really feels like a big budget TV show to me. It doesn't really, it's not super cinematic. It's not like, wow, this camera work everything is by the numbers. You could have seen this on NBC on like a Thursday night, to be honest. So I'm going to give it a 3 because I did like the rocket launchers, but the last fight is weak. Like Colin Farrell's like, I got one in the chamber. And then he's like, throws it and he's like, let's fight hand to hand. They wrestle a little bit, 2 punches, and he gets hit by a train. And I'm like, what? Okay, whatever. So I'll give it a 3. There is enough action, but it's all in the second half. Of the first hour, there's like no action at all. So I don't know, mixed.
I will say this. I kind of agree with you, but I gave it a 4. I gave it a 4. I liked it because while it is dad action and while the action is predictable and it does feel like a TV show, at least it had action.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah.
And I thought there was unique set pieces in this movie that I kind of enjoyed and liked. And the setup, I liked the plane going on the bridge. I thought that was unique. I mean, we did so many episodes. I haven't seen one of the planes landing on a bridge. Besides, you know, Mission Impossible when a helicopter comes down to pick up the guy, Seymour Hoffman. But not a plane landing on the damn thing. So I gave it kudos to that because I thought that was a pretty cool sequence. I did like the helicopter shot down. I thought that was really creative. I liked the beginning when they're shooting in the street. I thought that was a really cool, epic
the bank robbery scene.
Yeah, the bank robbery scene. I thought that was a really cool setup, how all these guys, what a SWAT thing looks like. Yeah. I thought that was cool. But that ending, the reason I knocked the point, that ending fight was awful. It was awful. I mean, we've seen so many ending fights. And it reminded me of the Black Panther, when it's Black Panther versus Killer Mongrel or whatever his name is.
Killmonger, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that. Like, while the scenes were all cool, the way he died was kind of whack. And this one is the same way. You had these 2 best friends fighting, and you're right, punch into the train. And I was just like, what?
That's
like,
it. Oh
that's it. And remind you, for people, if you haven't seen it or anything, Colin Farrell's character got stabbed through the arm, like his hand, with a knife before the fight. And my man was punching full force with no pain. Because I would have been on the floor. Yeah, I agree. But I gave it a 4. I thought there was a lot of unique action set pieces, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I love ambushes. In movies, ambushes is so cool. Jack Ryan has some ambushes that I thought was really cool. This movie has some good ones. Sicario has other good ones. But I thought it worked, but it just was kind of weak. It didn't lead to nothing at all. It didn't lead to much. So with that said, I thought it was going to be a bigger, broader scope, like, oh, we're gonna get some crazy action. No, we didn't. You're right. It did feel like a TV show made into a big budget movie. So with that, I gave it a 4 though. You gave it a 3. All right, let's get to storyline.
All right. So if you remember at the end of our last episode, when we started talking about SWAT, I got kind of excited because I found out this was written by David Ayer, who, you know, hit or miss as a director. I like some of his movies. I don't like some. But as a writer, I mean, he wrote Training Day and he wrote like and directed End of Watch, Fury. Yeah, like good stuff, you know? So I was like, okay, David Ayer, I'm excited. One of his worst scripts. I'm sorry. I didn't like this movie. When I was watching it, I was like, this must be why I don't remember anything from this movie. It is so by the numbers. Like, this is a generic script. 2 guys separated and one's going to turn bad. The first hour, you could correct me if I'm wrong. The first hour of this, you have the opening scene, which I agree with you. I like the bank robbery. After that, all you do is get a extended montage pretty much of them like recruiting people, training, a bunch of training. Like, what are we doing? I don't want to watch these people training for an hour. They're like him and Colin Farrell and the other guy. the guy who turns bad, they have a one-on-one competition. Then later as a team, they do like this fake airplane thing where they're like running around doing training. And then the last hour is where the movie actually starts. And I think there was potential here, for a better story with Colin Farrell and Jeremy Renner, with the whole, like, we used to be friends. We've seen movies, I don't know, I'm just going to pull one out the air. Something like GoldenEye, where you have an agent who used to be an agent, and you have Bond, and maybe they weren't like best friends, but you still get the concept, right? They worked in the same thing. They're familiar. And now there's plenty of friends turned enemies action movies. And this is so bland. Like, it's just a bland script. So the storyline, to me, it's thin. This is a thin guy wants to escape. People coming after a SWAT team. That's it. Like, that's the whole premise. I gave it a 2. I think it's pretty weak.
I'm with you. I give it a 2 also. I felt like this, and I like David Ayer. I always defend David Ayer. I always enjoyed his movie. Even the ones that people hate, I enjoyed it, for like Sabotage with Arnold. I liked it from when I remember. I seen it once, but I remember enjoying it. I was like, okay, this is pretty good. But in terms of this film, you're right. It's a very generic template. Like, this is where you go from here and there. You're right. There's ways that you could have did this way better. I think that this movie had so much potential, and I wouldn't even mind if they reboot. I'm going to be honest. If they reboot it with a brand new cast, I'll be like, and they make it like a real, like the way he made Beekeeper.
Yeah.
If he makes it like Beekeeper, like that type of action, very serious type of movie, which it should have been serious. This was very cornball, like 2000s, like talking also. And I just felt like it just didn't work for me. While I did enjoy it for what it was, I was like, you know what? It was not horrible. It's a good watchable movie. I don't think it's like because I've seen bad action movies. This is not as bad. It's just watchable crap. Like, this is a very watchable crap movie, but storyline is not its strongest suit. The strongest suit in this film is the action, because the characters, the storyline is not the strongest suit in this. And David Ayer, like I said, we enjoy most of his work. We covered most of the stuff here on the podcast. And I gotta say, I agree. This is kind of one of his weakest ones. I was just like, oh my God. Yeah. And for a villain that's a drug cartel, killed his uncle in the beginning of the movie, right? He kills his uncle, takes his car. He gets caught because he had a bad taillight. They take him in, and his fingerprints is not matching his passport. And then from there on, I'm like, okay, this dude got caught because of a taillight broken. Like, the biggest drug lord in the stupid movie got caught by a taillight. While, again, it does happen in real life. Like, the Unabomber got caught, I think, with a ticket or something like that he was writing him a ticket. So, yes, sure. But at the end of the day, the villain didn't even do nothing. Like, I want to see a heavy-duty cartel getting axed. Like, I'll give $500 million to get out. And then it's like a John Wick. Every type of freaking the Chinese mafia is coming in, or even, everybody. Like,
even the last movie we did with Miami Vice, at least that cartel guy had a lot of scenes, right? Yeah. He's interacting with. He doesn't even interact with the SWAT team. You don't see him doing any business. You don't see how ruthless he is. Nothing. They just tell us this guy's a drug lord.
I think with this movie, for me personally, what I would have done, I think I would have had the father and son, where his son gets caught doing something for him. And he's like, I will personally give $500 million to get my son out of prison, like during this thing. And then he joins in. Like, so then you got this like, oh shit, like this dude's dad is like now coming to break his son out.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted, but we didn't get it. But I hope we do. They put it in the ether. But with that said, we both agree. 2 across the board here. Okay, overall.
Yeah. So I want to point out to the listeners too. David Ayer was a writer. He wasn't the sole writer. So it could have also been he wrote a treatment. Other person comes in, changes it. Yeah, and his best work is a lot grittier than this. His best stuff is R-rated. Let's be real.
And serious.
Fury's an R-rated movie. Harsh Times is an R-rated movie. Even Street Kings, which we did. R-rated movie.
That's the Keanu Reeves one?
Keanu Reeves one,
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, but gritty, right? Realistic. Yeah. LA cop stories, this guy can knock it out the park. This is an LA cop movie, but it's done for PG-13. It's done for big. And hey, it made money. It did its job in that regard. I think we're used to a little bit something different from him. But again, he wasn't the only writer, so it could have been other stuff. Overall, I didn't really like this movie. It's too long. because nothing happens in the first, it should have been 90 minutes. It feels like a 90 minutes movie that's accidentally almost 2 hours long. And a lot of that has to do with that first hour being nothing, being a montage of them training and crap. So you could have cut that down. Great cast. It's cool to see all these, actors, some of them before they hit it big, some of them when they were kind of, LL Cool J was well known by this point. He's rapping since the 80s. So, Samuel L. Jackson. Overall, I gave it a 2. It's been added over here to the pile. I will never watch this movie again, but I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it either.
I gave it a 3. I thought it was watchable crap. Yeah. I thought it was good enough for me to be like, you know what? I could watch this while cooking. I could watch this while cleaning. It wasn't as bad like that. Huh?
A laundry movie.
A laundry day movie. Yeah. Like I could, and honestly, like I said, I wasn't bored. It wasn't boring. It was just that the characters were bland and the story wasn't as creative for me to engage, but I thought it was watchable for me to put in the background, like background noise while I'm working.
I agree. It's not boring.
Watching and cleaning.
I wasn't bored. I didn't like it, but I wasn't bored. Yeah.
Yeah, I know it wasn't. The other writer was Dave McKenna.
Okay.
And he was, if you want to know his biggest writing credit, is American History X.
You're telling me the writers of Training Day and American History X teamed up, and this is what they wrote? Yeah. I'm about to lower it. I'm about to lower it to a 1.
And he wrote Get Carter with Stallone. I never seen it, but yeah.
So he's wrote much better things. Both of them.
He wrote, and I'm just gonna say this mad quick. He was a writer for S.W.A.T. The movie Blow with Johnny Depp and Penelope Cruz. Good movie. And American History X is his first movie.
Amazing movie.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, this was not his peak. Neither of these guys. This was not their best work. We'll put it that way.
All right. So with that said, what's your total points?
I got a 10 out of a 25. I had an 11, but I lowered it once I realized I hated the lead character. So 10 out of 25 for me.
I gave this a 14 out of a 25. Like I said, it's a watchable crap movie. Throw in the background noise and you're good to go.
Fair enough.
Yeah. All right, Nate, what's coming up next on the last episode of our season 1?
Season 1's coming to an end. We made it. The last TV show turned movie. Maybe one of the biggest we've covered in this little section. I mean, obviously Mission Impossible. But after that, as far as the standalones, a huge hit. A monster hit. We're going to be doing The Fugitive, starring Harrison Ford and our boy Tommy Lee Jones. I don't care. We're going to see. I have not seen this movie in years, but I remember that. I don't care. So we're going to be covering The Fugitive. That'll be the last. And then we will announce season 2, the theme at the end of that episode.
Yeah, I mean, there you go, guys. That is the episode. One more left to finish off season 1, and then we're going right into season 2, which we will reveal the theme on the final episode of season 1. But with that said, you guys enjoying what you are listening or watching, please head over to youtube.com/geeksandflicks. Watch the video version of the podcast. And of course, if you guys want to take it on the go, you guys can head over to Action Movie Guys, available on all podcast platforms. Leave some ratings. Leave some comments. Other than that, I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. My co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
Be awesome to each other and geek out.